This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing a variation of the Mothership role-playing game called Cloud Empress. I'm your host, Thom Raley. This scenario is The Star Seedling. It was written by Victor Graur, who is also our warden. Cloud Empress is the creation of Worlds by Watt. Mothership was created by Sean McCoy, and this is episode 3. Our recap will be given by Nathan Decker as his character, Olo the Summer Night. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Nathan?
When I returned to the life of the sellsword, I never expected to end up on a madman's stage, unraveling some sort of puzzle embedded within the props. The play for Tada, while improvised, expertly I might say, was more grueling than I expected. Sven and Sun covered my distress when I chipped my wife's blade upon a rock. Then Rose was confronted with some malfunctioning sniper robot that plagues her village in the breadbasket. Worst of all, we uncovered a sarcophagus containing the body of Screaming Gourd Heliomarcos, a former love of Amethystos, and someone who did not survive the path we're now treading. It seems Screaming Gourd was killed by some sort of contagious spore, possibly related to the seedling flower on the sarcophagus, some gift made to cure the damages inflicted by the Stellar family. We were also given a strange compass-like device that Sun, Rose, and Amethystos experimented with, discovering that it was some sort of magic identifier device written with torturer script that we could not parse. Eventually, Rose left to hunt down that robot with almost a bipolar structure to its behavior. Sven found some more interesting spores with Sholo in the kitchen. Sun discovered that the house itself seems to be changing as we wander it. Amethystos almost got hit by a ladder in the library. Attacked might be a little bit of a stretch, but we'll get there. And I found some new weapons to protect ourselves as we begin our search for the spore in this village.
Wonderful. So, as we begin, you probably laid your memories on a piece of paper. And the last time I'm going to start with Olo specifically. You were given the choice of some peculiar items in the armor. There are a couple of sabers. There is a recurve bow. And there is also a revolver there. You also see a very well-decorated blade that, of course, Thorn warns you not to pick.
She's watching. She's always watching.
She's always watching. What would you take from the armor, specifically?
I would definitely take a saber, one that seemed of good fit. We were talking after, maybe he almost left the armory and then went, you know what, I'll go back. And he makes sure that he brings at least blades for Sven and probably like a dagger sort of thing. And he will bring the recursive bow. He's not particularly expertly skilled in it, but it's a nice silent sort of weapon. But I don't know that any of these folks strike me as firearms people, as cool as a pistol might be.
Do you, in your search, in fact, considering you're approaching only the blades. You will be approaching the sword. Dice are ready. Roll me, please, a reality save as you are passing this blade.
Oh, I might have actually made that despite my incredibly low numbers. I hit it exactly 24 on 24.
Mhm. There are some whispers that seem to be coming from the sword, but thankfully, you don't really discern anything from them. You skedaddle across the armor, take the sabers and leave.
It's bad luck when a warrior starts to speak to his weapon. That's madness.
So you all congregate back. Um, if I remember correctly, Amatistos, you also are in the possession of a tome, of a codex.
Yes.
Yeah. And the rest of you, you meet together. And right now, I'm going to ask what plan exactly are you following? The last time when we left, it's almost nighttime. So you notice Thorn and Tada retreat to their rooms. You are alone in the stellar residence with some clanking sounding afar, which might be familiar to Rose. The clanking doesn't approach you.
Well, are we going to go to the village? I've got this book here. We can look and see what's inside of it. For some reason, the ladder didn't want me to read it. Yes, the ladder attacked me.
Hmm. It's very worrying. We've all had a busy day. In my experience, most things can be done in the morning just as well as at night. I'd rather we get some sleep and maybe plan for tomorrow, as going to the village seems like a good idea. That seems to be the goal, right? Figuring out where these spores come
Find
from.
out what's
I'm
going
not quite
on.
clear what Tada wants us to do.
Not sure either, other
Well,
than
we
do
have the puzzle, the compass that we have to figure out. That will tell us what we have to do and where we have to go. Um, are there no rooms here? Do we have to go to the village tonight?
You can definitely stay at the castle should you wish.
They
There
have
are
lots of food
rooms.
here.
The kitchen is
I'm
closed
just
at
not
midnight.
very comfortable with all of this, the paintings that are obviously watching us now. Um, I don't know if there, do you think there's an inn in the village? Or
Possible, but I'm not sure it's going to be any further from Thorn's vision, if I'm truthful.
Hmm.
we could just camp on the edge of the
When we were offered a nice bed, take it. That's what I say.
And breakfast.
from the people who murdered. Well,
Yes, we
all
should.
right then.
I
I'll
mean,
go with the majority of what those of you who, whatever you want to do.
our hosts seem to be the depths of their magical knowledge is continues to baffle me. If the readings I'm getting from this compass are correct, they seem to have tamed that mechanical thing through some magical means.
Or their family created it in the first place.
Well,
Hmm.
I've seen many of these amethystos, and there's never been a sprinkle of chalk anywhere in them. And yet
Hmm.
our compass is detecting some kind of magical presence within this one.
All right, well, we'll stay here then, but I'm going to sit up for a while and peruse through this book. in the light of a lamp.
So you all stay at the castle. Considering your reactions, I'm going to say that you all go to rest. Strangely enough, you find your rooms. The very next room out of this one, which is basically the mess hall, it would be of very, very bad architectural design, but you strictly remember when you exit the mess hall that you should have met some corridors. But the moment when you say that you are going to stay at the castle and sleep, it's almost like the castle shifted its internal structure. Everyone besides Amatistos goes to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
And Amastiso, sorry, one shot. When you go to sleep, wake me up.
You all go to sleep. I am going to say that you all can give me mind check to see exactly how good you are resting in the confines of the castle.
A critical 22 for me.
I'm sorry, what are we supposed to roll?
A mind check. So you roll a 1d100 and you compare it to your mind stat.
Yeah, my 83 is
Those of you that failed, you are going to remain at the same stress, but you can definitely consider the benefits of resting for character progression. So everyone that passed, you can decrease 2 stress. Those that critically succeeded can decrease all the stress. You can transform this healed stress into a stat of your choosing. And while a little bit of a bitter, sweet victory, Rose, you can definitely up one of your preferred stats or saves by 1. Amatistos, you read the book. I'm not going to request any kind of check because you are not in a stressful situation, but you will also need to do the check when you will go to sleep and you will wake up Sven to take a watch. But you are going to roll with disadvantage because you are not sleeping at a host that makes you the most comfortable.
Thom can't hear us at all.
Oh. Hello?
Did he say something in Discord, or he just doesn't seem to be reacting to us?
I asked him through chat and he responded, I cannot hear anything.
Oh no.
2 minutes later.
Yeah.
Well, my earphones don't work anymore, so I'm listening to the speakers in the room, which sounds shitty, but whatever.
Yeah.
Now at least I don't have to wear the earmuffs anymore.
There you go. Good news, bad news.
On the bright side.
All right. So, sorry.
Not a
Pick
problem.
up where we left off.
What's the last thing you remember, Thom?
I don't remember. I remember I had said you'd said that I was the only one left awake. And I said, so what's in the book?
Okay.
And when you said that, I said, wake me up when you're ready to sleep. We'll take turns on watch.
Okay.
Also, Thom, give me a mind check at disadvantage. And if you fail, you don't relieve any stress, but you may upgrade one of your stats or saves by 1. If you succeed, 2, and you relieve 2 stress. And if you critically succeed, that's all stress off the table
Okay.
and into stats.
So I passed the mind.
Perfect. Doubles.
I'm sorry.
Doubles, like a critical.
Oh, no. I got 18.
2 stress healed, and you can upgrade any of your stats by 2.
Okay.
And the failure is no stress reduction, but I'm going to give you 1 upgrade in your stats or saves. You are essentially, so restarting. You peruse the codex and you find some combinations of letters. Essentially, the torture script is quite difficult to make out, but you understand the fact that the compass is an actual compass, so it will have a north, a south, an east, and a west. And you, watching this compass and translating some of these inscriptions from it, you start to get the feeling that this thing reacts and points to somewhere. In specific, it points to, you would guess, if your translation is correct, to the source of a certain power, usually chalk-centered power. And making that as an experiment, putting the compass near a stick of chalk that you have, points almost all the other tongues point to the rest of your chalk that you have on you. So you think you can actually make use of this somehow. You also probably get tired and
eventually I go to
choose.
bed.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go to bed. I'll tell everybody in the morning what I've discovered.
Yeah. You all have easy or less easy night sleep, and you wake up somewhat bright, let's say. But yeah, you are up and looking around each of your rooms. You don't see anything different or weird.
Yeah, Olo is twisting. He's loving life now this morning. That was the best he's slept in years.
Sven's stomach is growling, so let's get down to breakfast, everybody.
Son, you looking all right there, buddy?
No, I did not sleep at all. I kept thinking I felt the castle moving. Like every time I would try to nod off, I felt like the castle was moving underneath me.
I couldn't sleep either, dreaming of that mechanical thing
Yeah.
lurking in the hallways.
Thing is damn creepy.
It's the shifting hallways that gave me nightmares. We're all in agreement that the halls moved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's now. I hope when we open this door, it's still to the castle, and there's a path to the kitchen or the breakfast nook, wherever they feed us.
Just when you say that, you open the door, and there is another corridor, which wasn't there.
This is infuriating.
Give me strength. Well, this is what I do. Explore new places.
Yes, and Sun and Rose, take heart. If they wanted to kill us, they would have just done it already. So, in a way, we're pretty safe in the castle.
Yeah, the door wouldn't have opened.
I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty positive way of looking at it. The negative way to looking at it, which is the way I prefer to look at things, is that uh, they're just toying with us. We're like rats in a cage, and they're just poking us with a stick.
Well, that too.
Yeah,
We know
it
they're
could be
doing that.
both. Yes, yes. But we might as well be comfortable rats while we're rats.
But that shouldn't be
So,
discounted. Maybe we are rats in a maze. A lot of this hasn't made much sense.
true. Speaking of sense, what did you learn from your book one shot?
Well, the compass actually is a compass, and it does orient to north, south, east, and west. However, at the same time, it points towards sources of power. And I mean, we've seen that it's attracted to chalk if you bring chalk nearby. But I think that once you're sort of out of its immediate range, then it's like a regular compass in that it finds a much larger power source and points towards it. So it might, in fact, lead us exactly where we need to go. We have to figure out what north, south, east, and west is on it because the markings on it are odd.
And did
Maybe
you
it's
have any
obvious, maybe
luck?
it's not.
You didn't have any luck in the library with finding the torturer's script translation, correct?
Well, I got this book, but the book is written in Torturese, uh, and I can make out bits and pieces of it. That's about as good as. Hopefully, I didn't mistranslate, in which case I'm wrong. But that seemed to be the case.
Interesting. Because that to me says if the compass reacts strongly to chalk and it like overrides what it's supposed to point to, could we take it somewhere where there isn't any nearby and look at it? Although our teeth also might affect it, so I
Yeah.
don't know how we figure that out.
Might be able to just like walk closer to it, further away, maybe.
Oh, also, I did bring some blades. I forgot to hand these out.
I imagine the closer we get to whatever the source is, the stronger it'll point towards it.
So
Well,
Thank
I'm
you, Olo,
refreshed.
for the blade. I appreciate that.
Have a few.
Olo
The others
hands
don't.
you a couple of sabers, and they are quite good craftsmanship. You can tell that these are quite precious. Should you want to not actually use them to defend yourselves, you can actually trade them for quite some good provisions. But there is something the magicians you may notice already when you touch it. They have magical presence on them, which is already a little bit peculiar. They don't react visibly to others in any kind of way, and not even when you hold them, but you have an attunement to this kind of things. Of course, what this enchantment does is not really easy to get only from a feeling. So you can each add the sabers to your personal belongings. Just to check very, very, very fast.
So is that saber or just cursed saber? How do you want us to put that into our
That's a saber for you. For somebody whispers some meta things for 2d10 damage.
Does the compass point to it?
That's the saber. That's the saber. compass is not a very good tool for violence. I mean, he
I
could
want that. I want that on a pillow.
Does the compass point at the saber?
No, not really. Do you put the compass on the saber, or do you want to see if it points towards the saber?
If it points towards the saber.
It does not.
That's surprising.
Well, there was a strange sword that I was told not to touch, and s- it seemed to make some strange noises that I didn't want to listen to too closely, not having an aptitude for that sort of thing. I suspect maybe that this is some sort of residual. I mean, I could probably find the armor if you wanted to look, but Thorn made it quite clear we are not to touch the blade.
What's wrong with the blade?
Olo straight up just shrugs. I, it seems cursed in some fashion. No offense, Sven.
When you ask that question, out of nowhere, Thorn gets behind you, and she's like, "That's family heirloom, which are not supposed to touch." And that will be all the explanation you will receive, dear lordling.
Thorn, before you go away, but what's this all about? Why did you come to us? Why did you send us letters, lure us here, and now you're threatening us?
Well, let's get something straight. It
Yeah,
wasn't me who sent you letters. It was my, pardon my language, my dastard brother that called you here in this farce, in this charade that he just keeps wanting all the strangers from the inferior places to come and help us find an artifact which, as far as I'm concerned, is a myth.
And everybody who's tried has died, except for you keep trying.
She sketches a face of morbid pleasure, and she's like, all of them died.
Yeah. So why would we do this for you? What's in it for us?
Well, if it would be for Tada to speak, he would be like, this is the occasion of a lifetime. You cannot believe. You can find the cure for the disease. For many, many thousands of years, your name will be praised. If you ask me, I will not kill you right now if you accept the deal. Let's say you pretend for my brother to be in search of this artifact, and you get out of my way and out of this castle as soon as possible, and they're just like, oh, we couldn't find anything. How about that?
And then you'll kill us?
No. I got much better use for my blades than that. And my gun.
Or what if we just left?
That would make Tada ask many, many questions.
So can we know more about this legend? Is there a book I can read on this legend? This legendary item?
Well, you played quite well if I'm sparing a compliment for you last day. You already know part of the legend. Our family, a long time ago, explored this very lands that this castle resides on, and they discovered a plague. Now, this plague was quite virulent, and of course, they made some attempts to cure it. The cure didn't work. In fact, it made things even worse. With some drawbacks. You see, all of us are in fact infected, but we have a symbiotic relationships with the spores. We regenerate much faster than you while you are getting killed by this plague. Now you may be asking me, why do you want a cure for this thing? Well, we don't have any kind of servants here. Everybody dies around the castle, around these lands. So we had a fighter that struck a rock and unveiled a path to the underworld where the Star Seedling resides. But the Star Seedling doesn't exist. As proof, only death and despair follow. But Ada still believes that there is something that thing, and it points to the compass, will lead you to.
So somewhere, this legendary Star Seedling is hidden, and we need to break through a rock to get to the doorway to the underworld. And the compass will lead us to this legendary thing, or
Pretty much, yes.
it's all hokum, and we're just going to be wandering around doing nothing. But you're telling us that we're infected? You infected us by bringing us here.
Well, don't take it as that much of a ploy. You weren't infected by the dead body of your acquaintance. Your fate was sealed when you received the letter.
Son of a bitch.
Pardon me, Lordly.
Elbow goes out.
As
In this story,
Hokum the
this
Shrew once said, fuck you.
this sword that they used to strike the rock, that wouldn't happen to be your family heirloom sword, would it?
Well, if the legend is true, that probably would be, but I see no rock. If you find it, yeah, let me know, and I'm just going to borrow you one of the most treasured items in this castle to strike it against the rock.
We need to confer. You can go.
I thought you would never ask. And she opens the door and closes it behind her.
I didn't. They've infected us with this spore. We're going to die if we don't find the cure. The cure probably doesn't exist.
Well, you can spend your last days bemoaning your fate, or we hope for a miracle.
Well, I suppose the first thing is we need to find a big rock.
We have a
Oldblow knows
compass.
much about these, yes?
I mean,
resident expert on rocks. And the
Well,
cutting.
not just rocks, but striking rocks with swords.
if I'm being completely honest, my story was not technically my own. It's my wife was the one that struck the rock, and it was less a rock and more a giant compacted clod of. It's not necessarily important that it's literal. It's the kind of story that everybody has, you understand.
Is your wife still alive?
No, 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 no. No,
But the play was just telling us the components of the story.
Indeed.
He broke through the rock,
Oh.
we went into the underworld, and if we don't succeed, we get spores and we end up like Gord.
But if we
Well, we-
succeed, who knows what we could get? I'm
Well,
willing
I
to take the
possibly-
risk.
The thing is, possibly nothing at all.
Hopefully alive.
Yes, I would like to return back home. So
Well,
in
yeah,
order to
we
do that,
can't
we need to survive.
and we can't do it without the cure. Otherwise, we take the infection with us and give it to everyone.
I mean,
What a
we're
dangerous thing
already
to send in a letter.
And apparently, they just want this cure so they can cure the people of the local people, so that they can have their slaves back that aren't dying all the time.
I never have understood the people that live in castles, so that doesn't surprise me.
If we find this, I think we should burn this place to the ground afterwards. These
Again,
people are
this
terrible
this is-
people.
they're terrible people with a tremendous amount of power.
And why
You've seen
they
what
found
magic
it
they're capable
themselves?
of.
Then why haven't they found it themselves? Let's make sure we're not being tricked.
Oh, we're being tricked.
Yes.
That's not anything I have any doubts in, but I'm hoping what I imagine is going to happen at some point we'll have the tipping point where either everything goes bad or everything goes good. And we just
Oh.
keep preparing for that. Go along, eat their food, drink their wine, use their swords, and then at the right moment, we make our move.
Well, it's bright and early. Let's see where that compass leads us. Maybe it'll
After
lead us right
breakfast.
to the rock.
Sven has his priorities correct, I'm afraid. It won't do much good to traipse around without eating first.
And maybe we can get a basket of food to bring with us.
Mm.
Sven goes to the door and with great trepidation opens it again.
There is another corridor behind the door where Thorn just left.
See where it goes.
Follow the smell to the kitchen.
You, if you got something like which could aid in navigation, I would definitely take speed aided or not by a skill navigation.
I don't have anything like that. Except a compass.
What about street savvy? Do you have street savvy?
No. Scrounging.
Ask the paintings.
I have scrounging. Scrounging should help.
Yeah.
I could,
will definitely
yeah,
take
okay.
that.
So you're saying roll speed with
Twice.
advantage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, not that one. 001.
Critical. After just one
Sven's
more
stomach
door,
leads the way.
you are in you end up in Sholo's kitchen, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing? You should have went left, right, left, 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 right, and you should have landed in the mess hall, not in the kitchen." Nevertheless, yeah, and he has these packages, and he gives them to you, and he's like, "So I've heard from Lady Thorn that you will be adventuring outside. So I have packaged some meals for you. And he gives you all packages, and everything smells great, essentially.
Great.
You get some nice peck squab egg omelette with some nice greeneries. You get some freshly dried cardamom, which is an acquired taste. But in this universe, it's okay. It's like reality. It's weight in gold, essentially. Very, very expensive herb, and very, very good on some meat, which you also have packaged. You don't quite know if it's a hedgehog dog or if it's a tiger wolf meat.
Hedgehog dog, my favorite.
His pet's still there, right?
Can you also tell us where to find our mounts? I'm sure Thorn has arranged for our mounts to be ready as well.
Mounts. Yeah, I think you will probably be using one of the carriages.
That's fine.
And
Where do we get our
Shuttles-
carriage?
We got one of our most stern and reliable pack squads to drag along the carriage.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Safe travels. And you notice that he's quite nervous when he says that.
Shola, before I leave, thank you for the meal, of course, but is there anyone you would recommend to talk to in town once we get there?
Well, the town is filled with farmerlings. They don't quite enjoy the presence of us very much, which I fully understand. You seem like, well, Lady Thorn would use more rough words, but you seem to have the common touch. So you might probably be very well liked or welcomed by the community. Many farmerlings have myths, legends, rumors that they speak about. Some of them are quite friendly. The most friendliest of them all are at the edge of the town. And he will give you some directions how to reach that place. Refer to them as the Xanders, old farmerlings, been farmerlings all their lives. And they are also at the point where if you ever find yourself to be need to cross towards the rust bucket, they will definitely be willing to talk and even house you.
That's wonderful. I've heard that the Sanders son has quite a book collection. I would like to see it.
Rooms filled with them.
Yeah.
All right.
And he just returns to cutting spores, edible spores.
Let's get to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as you're exiting the castle, you probably pay attention to the surroundings. Outside, it's a nice pink, bluish sky with some mild rain. You probably are covered by your clothes. And looking around as you're leaving the castle, taking a look back at it, you start to see that it has these circular structures, which right now you didn't notice when you first arrived, but they are moving slightly. The whole building moves very slow, but those towers were never there. and that rooftop was never there. So there is some very, very peculiar motion, which actually calms you down because you're like, oh, so it's not in my head. It's probably the castle really shaped. It's a mechanism, yeah.
It's like a clockwork.
And as you step in the village, to paint a picture, you see a nice village made out of bulbous structures. They are pretty much built to withstand some very heavy weather. You are aware that sleep storms happen, and almost all the architecture, besides this castle, this tall Gothic castle, is very grounded. You barely see any building that has more than the ground floor. There is either the ground floor or just a one-story high building. People walk, trade, talk. You see many farmerlings. They are distinct by their cheap outfits, and they give you a weird look like towards outsiders, but they didn't see you exit the castle. So essentially, they probably don't hold any kind of prejudice or any kind of preconceptions about your whereabouts. They might look a little bit weird at Amatistos because they feel the lordling prestige aura.
Yeah. Tremble, all of you. Where does the compass say to go? Who has the compass? Rose?
I have it.
Let's see if we can follow it.
It's a very
What do you do with
sensitive.
it?
I'm basically, as we're writing along, I'm just holding it out in front of me to see if the needles wobble at all. Because they wobble even a little bit, I want to stop.
The tongues are all pointing all directions.
Whatever it is, it's not strong enough to move these needles quite yet.
Makes sense if we're all in a carriage. We're probably all messing with it to some degree.
Yes, our wisdom teeth, our chalk.
Yes. All the other magics we have.
Which means it's probably not going to react until we get very close to a very large power source.
Right, and that's what we're hoping to find.
If we could find, perhaps we can ask these farmers. There have been others like us. Where did they go? You there? Oh, they ran away. I forget that I'm a lordling, so maybe one of you ask.
Maybe we don't want to associate ourselves with the castle too much.
Don't you imagine that they know why we're here, since why else would we be here? I don't know how often, every season does this happen? Every equinox?
Seems to be some sick holiday tradition of theirs, yes.
Thinking back on the equinox, since you mentioned it, Amatistos, the equinox is going to take place in exactly 7 days.
7 days. Maybe that means that we have 7 days before the spores overtake us.
Probably.
Yes, that sounds right. I mean, the spores will do us great harm before they kill us, so the sooner we can be rid of them, the better.
I suspect if we frame our search as looking for a cure and acknowledge our circumstances, we might find some sympathy among the people. They'll understand the plight we found ourselves in, even if they chalk it up to personal greed,
Hmm.
which I can't necessarily deny.
Although you seem to be the most respectable of all of us, your age and your shiny exterior, perhaps you can get their attention and see if they will help us.
Well, that will work for me. Let's head off to that kind of edge of town area and see who we can find.
Okay.
So as you're going around the town, the compass, I'm going to tell you, doesn't react in any kind of way. But traveling around, you get a feeling, so the compass doesn't change, but you get a feeling of the town. You see some weirdly dressed Amatistos, and perhaps probably everyone will kind of understand that you are looking at some Cloudling soldiers. They their presence is quite oppressive, considering the contrast between them and the natural residents of this small town. They don't pay you any mind, or they don't try to intimidate you or the villagers, but their presence seems to be oppressive in the sense that they are drinking, partying, being quite loud, being obnoxious. And you remember all about the 29th expedition, in which Cloudlings essentially take rest in any kind of village they can, moving away from the cloud cities in search of the Cloud Empress. The Cloud Empress escaped her home out of a rebellious desire to not be the next of kin to the Empire main house. But of course, this search is more of an excuse for lordlings to have their agendas being pushed, lands being pillaged, treasures being stolen, and of course, chalk to be harvested. Which, passing by some of these Cloudling soldiers, you hear one of them saying something like, yeah, we just returned from the plains, just up ahead. And man, there was a big, big imago carcass, almost 10 pounds of pure chalk, just sitting there. But we couldn't because of these goddamn farmerlings. And of course, you don't need to interact with them. The carriage gets dragged by the Hute Tech Squad. But that's what you hear exploring and seeing the more of the village.
Did you hear that?
Oh, yes. I think I know where we go next, but only to test the compass, not out of greed, but to test the compass to see where we go next.
It is interesting you say that, Sven. The compass could almost be a imago locator. When you
That's
think
what I
about
was
it.
thinking
Yeah.
we should test. Yeah.
And quite honestly, we have no direction to go in, so we might as well go in that direction. If you wanted, I could force those soldiers to take us there. I outrank them by far. However, they do seem quite drunk.
That
Let's
is
go on our
completely up
own.
to you.
Yeah, let's go on our own.
Yeah. I mean, do the instructions seem clear enough that we should be able to find? You know, they said 10 miles out of town. Is with a direction, or is there a road, or
Not really clear because they are talking besides each other. All of them are quite drunk, but to be fair to give something to you because you are interested in the location, you can stop the carriage and they almost don't pay you any mind. They if you stay with the carriage and timidly look outside the small window, they will start to get onto you, but they don't get violent in any way. They start to turn and probably their eyes land on Amatistos or on the whole group because you are quite different since apart from all the villagers, and they are like, oh my, travelers. And one of them, of course, lifts up from the chair, starts to dust off, and it's essentially trying to be professional after being completely shit-faced, drunk.
No.
And it's like, Colonel Verilio, first of the battalion of the great Cloud Empress. Say, I haven't seen you around this part of the Hereafter. What brings you in the lowland ways?
I think you would probably. I do agree. Your rank is probably better than ours. I think
Yes.
he's kind of looking probably at Sun and him. Our Sun, Sven, and him probably look
He-
the rattiest.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a condescension in his look. He looks at all of you and he's almost like the nice kind of drunk. Like it completely blurred any kind of vision, and he smiles, and you know that Cloudling soldiers want to appeal to the lowland wastes residents, not just to lordlings, even though they are essentially the conquistadors of this world. So they are unsufferable and they are invaders, essentially, but they want to be liked, which is a paradox. They want to be liked conquistadors.
Yeah, they'd be like better if they went back home. Damn them.
I will act and react towards them as if they were, that I'm a lordling, that I'm a member of a highborn house. And so at first I'm just going to stare off into the distance and not look at them directly and make them very intimidated in the process.
Yeah, you succeed. One of them is like, oh, didn't know we were in the presence of a lordling. Boys! And you see the rest of them lift up and start to clean their clothes, clean the slob from their mouths, and try to make a good impression. And and the commander is like, Lordling, please allow us to welcome you to this amazing new conquest of the Empress on behalf of the Empress.
Yes, I've heard a rumor that there was an imago that had fallen.
Yes.
What direction do I go?
One of them even brings out a map, and they're going to put a dot, and that's where the imago was found, and another dot where this village is. You can definitely sketch that if you want. You get the feeling from your position that it's somewhere a little bit up north. It's very, very easily reachable, but it's wilderness. There's nothing there, essentially. So they will definitely tell you the information without any kind of expectancy of any kind of remuneration or reward. They tell you, though, well, my lord, there is danger up there. Couple of armlings, they've been, well, shooting at us, trying to get us off their lands. Are you sure you want to go there?
That's not surprising. People want to defend what's theirs.
Ours. And he laughs with the others a little bit obnoxiously.
Mine, I say.
And he's like, cheer to that, and lifts another keg filled with the brownish dark liquid of an alcoholic beverage. Most likely rice whiskey.
I think that as soon as you sober up, you need to return to your regiment and go back to your duties. I'll overlook the fact that you are a bit inebriated. And then I'll say, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, they immediately they rush to down the kegs, and they stumbly start leaving the pub. And of course, after they leave in a haste, there is a young woman that takes the kegs and starts wiping off, and she's disgusted with what she has to clean.
I'll motion for her to come over.
She will approach, but she has some reticence.
Okay. As soon as she gets close enough, Lord, I will present her with a jeweled brooch and then say, let's go on. We know where to go. So that should more than enough pay for those idiots.
She takes it and she mouths a thank you, but she is a little bit scared of your party, and she backs away slowly and resumes cleaning. Wonderful.
And then as we start to drive away, I'll chuckle to everyone. And that's how you control a bunch of idiots. And make friends with the people on the way back.
Well done, One Shot. Well done.
So we have a map.
Yeah.
It's a bit in the wilderness, but they said there's some danger from some of the other farmers. But perhaps we can make an impression on them as well.
Do you think that the cure that we seek is going to be out in the farmlands, not in the village?
Well, I think that having more chalk would not be a bad thing. We don't know what we're coming up against.
All right. Well, I mean, if you think it's worth our time, I won't object.
Methistos, you made a good point earlier, as if they knew where the cure was near them, they'd probably have found it by now. I wonder,
and also, we don't know where we're going, so that way is as good as any other way.
And having some chalk is always a good choice. I know you have some, friend, but I suspect the rest of us are chalkless.
It does need to be refined, which we can do over a fire, and I do have a press, so...
And I have collecting drills and hammers and a press as well. So between our two presses, we could probably get quite a bit rather quickly.
If it hasn't all been harvested already.
Fair point. So let's go.
There's also danger, I believe, from the other imago, since they may be attracted to it. Might be my chance to finally see one close up.
Do we want to go out there first, or after we discuss with maybe more of the townsfolk?
The town will still be here when we get back with our chalk.
If we pass somebody on the way,
fair point.
Feel free to discuss.
A little adventure in the morning never hurt anyone. Son, how are you feeling about this?
Well, I figure that since we're not the first people to go looking for this mythical artifact, the townsfolk are probably sick and tired of telling the same story to the same similar group of people. And really, I don't think we're going to find it around here. Because it's been mentioned before that if it's here, they should have found it already.
Actually, before we go, I need to do something. I'll get down from the carriage and I'll walk over to the pub, and on the door I will make marks with the chalk so that my floor door spell, if we need to escape suddenly, will bring us right back here.
Nice.
Nice.
So I love that idea. Mechanically wise, when you will make the actual link, so when you will need the entrance door back here, something will need to be done. But you can definitely do what you want to do right now. So you make some very detailed runes. You might even say a couple of words, small mumbles. And this frame doesn't glow bright, but for a split second, it's almost like it glints. And you are sure that you will be able to return here. Yeah. For convenience sake, the frail woman sees you and she nods, like she lets you do that, essentially. And you kind of get the feeling, thanks to your kindness, she won't disrupt the spell should you be in need of it.
Okay. Now we can go.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. You travel, and as you're traveling, there's not much happening, except the moment as you are approaching this supposed location, you start to see some holes, let's say, in the ground, which definitely indicate the presence of some improvised explosive devices. Of course, these have been already detonated because there's only holes left in their place. But the road is going to get quite treacherous. You can either attempt to pass this with your carriage or find any other way you find fit.
Well, I don't know how much good this compass is going to be for finding explosives.
If the explosives are powered by chalk.
If they're powered by chalk, so we might want to go on foot.
All right.
Somebody walk ahead with the compass.
That makes sense to
Walk
me.
in a straight line.
Can
If you
someone
hear a
put a
click,
spell
throw
on
the
the
compass
compass
back.
or on the carriage to protect it?
Well, I fear that by the time we detect anything, the carriage will have already run into it.
No, I mean, once we get out and leave, is there any way we can protect it?
I think that the fear of House Stellar will keep prying hands from it.
Fair enough. And I've got lots of miles left on my boots.
You aren't far. So walking, you're essentially like, you stopped with the carriage like, I don't know, probably at the base of a hill, and just not that high, you kind of see on a hill near this road, this bombarded road, there is the slight contour of an insect, a big insect carcass. And the sun reflects almost in a beautiful rainbow spectrum of the chitinous scales. And it just lays there, motionless.
Look at that. Is that the
And
carcass? Hopefully it's not a living.
Yes, it
And
should be cool. It's the shell of a thing. It's not the carcass of one. It's moltings, if I'm not mistaken.
Then it's an instar, not a imago. Imago is the final form. Are there wings?
well, you can't really tell from this angle. But I'm going to give you something else as well. As you are in awe of this sight, you hear in the distance the flapping of the buzzing, better said, of wings.
They're gone.
And you even see dots in the horizon from the part where you can actually see where there is no hill. They kind of get bigger as you're standing and watching some of you watch the carcass, some of you are like probably watching around out of fear.
How
A
far
reasonable fear.
how far is it away from us? The one
Uh,
the shell.
the shell, you can probably get to it in like 5 minutes. Is very close. You can definitely go there quite fast. But
But if those things are
you,
flying at us, they're going to get here quicker.
yeah,
don't
Uh,
let greed blind you to the dangers. We've seen explosives, and when these things descend, they won't see a difference between you and the chalk.
well, then we need to get away from here. But I'd like to get far enough away that we can still watch what happens when they come.
Reed, I want to watch.
Yes, and the compass. Rose, what do you see with the compass?
Yeah, how's the compass reacting to this situation?
it doesn't react at all.
Strange.
But if you want, I mean, I like the fact that you said strange. With the risk of being a little bit crunchy, give me a mind check. No disadvantage, no nothing, to recall something that you met in the past when you studied the compass.
Come on. 18 is a pass.
18 is a pass. Perfect.
Mhm.
It reacted when it was placed exactly next to some things. It reacted exactly when you placed it near chalk or when you placed it near the flower that was sitting on the casket.
So you have to be pretty close.
And
Seems.
to give even more of an explanation, if my previous explanations fell a little bit short, you get the distinct feeling, and you put this together with Amatisto's translations, it indicates a source of power of what it touches elsewhere, if that makes sense.
So if you put a piece of chalk and allow it to touch the chalk, then it finds more chalk.
To exemplify, because this takes less than a couple of seconds, you put it on the chalk, all the needles point towards the imago carcass.
So it needs a sample.
Oh, yes.
So the plant is the sample, and it will point to where the plant
We need to
is.
sample the plant and nothing else.
What
Ah,
does
we've
it?
learned something.
Oh, I was starting to wonder if it actually needs its own power source, which would be the chalk as well.
But it's disturbing since it doesn't.
Yeah, well, in any case, I don't feel like getting eaten by insects today.
Yeah.
Do
Well,
we
let's
see
get back
any?
maybe 300 feet and
Yeah. Yeah. Do we see any of the farmerlings around? Since we've been told they're kind of looking after this.
Well, you don't. You see a couple of cottages in the distance, but there are no farmerlings around. But I'm going to say that you think that you already found the remnants of explosive devices. This seems like a guerrilla operation, so they probably aren't showing themselves.
right.
They don't wear bright colors. They pretty much camouflage in the beige and maroon color palettes of the landscape.
In whatever the local dialect might be, I'm going to yell out rather loudly, there are imago coming for that carcass. Run if you're hiding, and then we're going to get away. I want to warn them at least.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Your voice doesn't echo, but it reaches far and wide, and there is a certain stillness right now. There are no birds chirping. There is no movement, and everything seems to be still. But of course, this is more because of your emotions.
Warden, I have a quick question. So Sven's been in situations not exactly like this, but similar, where he wanted something, but there was time-sensitive danger involved. Could I use my scrounging to see if there's any way we could get in there, get something, and get back to get somewhere safe before these things arrive?
I like the idea, but that is definitely a stressful situation. I'm going to call probably for a speed.
Okay.
The scrounging will definitely help, but it brings an advantage. With the disadvantage of this situation, they nullify each other. So it's a flat out speed check.
I'm more just thinking, like, is it possible? And if it sounds like you're saying it's possible.
Yes, it is possible. Not to get into the nitty-gritty, grotesque, poor imago abuse details.
Yeah, get into that. Come on, let's go.
But let's say that you can probably scoop. You cannot take the whole thing, but you can scoop like an ice cream cup. You can scoop some of it up.
Okay.
Probably for one and a half stick of chalk, if you're quick enough.
It's 1.5 stick of chalk. That's a lot of chalk to me. So
yeah, it would have been dozens of sticks of chalk if you had the time.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go for it.
What's your speed?
The rest of you, and I'm going to get. What are you doing? Do you see Sven start bolting towards the carcass, essentially?
My speed's 47. If anybody's faster than me.
If I see Sven...
I am.
I am too.
I have a speed of 49.
I've got 55, so...
But you guys have disadvantage, don't forget.
I know, but Sven, you're my buddy, so... as soon as you suddenly bolt for it, I'll realize what you're doing, and I will also take the chance. I will bolt for it as well.
Yeah, I will watch them from a safe distance. As someone who values my life and limbs,
well, I got a 42 out of 55, whatever that means.
Okay.
I got a 09 out of 47.
Okay, so you get those that succeed, that actually participate, you reach the carcass. The carcass is of a very young imago. You reach it and you start to crack at it, probably with your small little tools. As you're doing this, you see coming from the distance 3 fully grown imago. They reach the hill and they start to make a dance on top of atop the skies of the hill, and you are definitely able to probably scoop, but I'm going to ask what are the rest of... So Sven is actually scooping the carcass. What is Amatistos doing?
I am also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've run up there with him.
Okay.
So I've actually taken off my hat in an attempt to fill it with whatever I can grab. I'll scoop it in.
Yeah. I like that a lot. You scoop whatever you can, and you try to get over the limit, or you just scoop and immediately start bolting back.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, I kick him and say, "Let's go."
Perfect.
If they start chasing us, we have to throw this away. It's the only way to distract them from attacking us, because we don't have a doorway out here in the middle of nowhere.
let me check exactly how they will react.
Thanks for reminding him.
But I'm also oddly giggling at this whole thing, because this is
totally
hella fun. This is totally fun.
And to choose, let's see what fate has to say about what they will do exactly. Oh, so you see them dance, continue their dance, which is actually very fast. You see these magnificent creatures. They are big. They are almost the size of an old truck. Like you've heard of vehicles like carriages that were completely fully autonomous. They have dazzling speed, and one of them bolts between the other two directly towards you. You don't exactly know if towards the carcass. So give me a speed check, both Amatistos and Sven.
002.
I failed.
And I'm grabbing.
Yeah.
I won't let him fall and not help him up. So.
Okay. The failure was a regular failure?
I got a 72 and my speed is 47.
Yeah. Okay. No, just a regular failure. Yeah, well, this thing, Amatistos, you try to reach for Sven, and as you are trying to reach for Sven, because you succeeded, you almost get over the imago as it sweeps him. You get pushed out of the way with no harm consequences, and you're starting to roll down this hill as Sven is being plunged by this imago. And just to check very quickly what they do exactly. Oof. Oh. Sorry. There's not a good reaction out of the GM to say oof. Yeah. It sweeps in for 15 damage. You will take a wound out of this, as this thing has a very pointy thorn in its forehead, and it almost goes through your arm, and you will also drop the chalk that you have collected.
Okay. I have a quick question here.
Yeah.
So I know I haven't said anything about this, but
Yeah.
I have camouflaged battle casing.
Okay.
And I know
Yes.
I haven't said I've been wearing it, so
No,
totally
no.
cool.
You definitely do. How much armor points do that provide? 7. Okay. Yeah. By all means, 15 minus 7, that is 8, if my math at this hour works correctly. You take 8 points of damage, so no wound, completely legitimate, but it shatters your armor completely. So your armor provides 0 protection right now.
That's what it's for.
You drop this chalk, and it's completely up to you, because right now the scene moves forward. This imago just swept in, crushed into you, crushed your armor, but the inertia pretty much pushed it forward. You can either try to get back the chalk, or you can just bolt it.
Of course I'm getting the chalk. After all this?
What's the insect doing? Is it
just swept past?
Is it accidentally bumped into us because it's going for the carcass? Or does it look like it's trying to eat us?
You get the feeling that it wanted the specifically easily chalked up chalk that you extracted from its fallen brethren.
Oh.
So it wanted to go towards Sven's hole, essentially, while you, Amatistos, escaped with yours. So you are still with your chalk. And
if I realize that, then I won't grab it. I'll let it have it and run.
Well, if I think the thing is going to try to kill Sven, I'm taking my chalk and throwing it in a direction to distract the thing, but only if it tries to attack Sven. I'm probably running back towards Sven at this point.
Yeah. No, you see the imago immediately after Sven drops the chalk. It goes and almost like so Sven, you said, so because a lot of simultaneous actions happen. Sven, you said that you're bolting. Amatistos, you have an if. Amatistos, you see that they do not try to harm Sven any further. Sven bolts, and I'm going to say you are even helped by the imago impact. So you are running down the hill. You meet with Amatistos, and you probably share a very, very brief brotherly hug. As all of you, the ones that were implicated, and the spectators. By the way, the spectators, please take a stress, because this is not taken lightly, even if you didn't participate. It almost shredded one of your poor colleagues.
Oh, yeah, there was for sure a moment of, they're going to make it. They're going to make it there. Oh, no. Sven.
Well, you got some. You got Amatistos whole.
And as we rejoin you, Sven and I are in hysterical laughter. That was like the most fun we've ever had.
You scared me half to death.
We got a hat full of
Thank God I had this armor.
Did you see how big they are?
Emphasis on the past tense.
Yeah, well, maybe we can get it fixed up. I'm not going to throw it away, but yeah, that was amazing one shot. We took our shot.
The carapace, I thought that was big. But those things, holy crap. Look at
And
them
Yeah,
go.
standing
especially up
from a
close.
distance, you see them, the ones on top of the hill, they munch and they munch quite loudly. So they literally rip apart their fallen brethren, but they also seem to have some elegance and respect into doing this. They are almost like recycling and
Yeah,
fulfilling the circle of life. And
we need to
after
get the
they
hell out of here.
finish, yeah, you are definitely getting the hell out of there. As you're leaving, they take the chitinous parts and they start to spread it almost unconsciously from their big feet, from their big hands, and more and more start to gather on top of the hill. Of course, you are probably long gone by then, but that's what you see. And you also have 1.5 stick of chalk, unrefined chalk, at your disposal.
Yeah, and I think you lose a little bit of it when you refine it, but we can see how that process works. I think it belongs to Sven.
Oh, you got it. It's yours.
Yeah, but you took the hit.
We can split it.
Is there anything that I can do for Sven's wounds?
By all means, if you have any kind of
I have
patches, medicine.
I
Okay,
have medicine as a
okay.
skill.
Um, yeah,
So
we can definitely do a first aid. I like that idea. You
it's,
can take care of the wound.
I mean, it seems like in all likelihood it's like a dislocated shoulder, a cracked rib or two.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably there's
Well,
not too much one can do, I assume, from getting crunched by a giant cicada, but
Well,
I'll
not
want
to
to do what I can.
sabotage, yeah, not to sabotage, but I always envisioned the first aid to be more of a heart check, but I'm going to leave it to you if you want to use your intelligence or any other higher stat.
Yeah, I would
Heart
want to
would be
use.
because you would be compassionate and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of heart in my old age. Um, my ripe old age of my late 20s, but I will use mind um,
Mhm.
to do a roll with advantage because I have a skill.
Yes, yes, by all means, yes.
34 is a pass.
Mhm.
So I rolled a 34 and then I rolled triple zeros. So
Yeah. Okay. 34. Yeah, no, for sure. You can definitely heal. Sven, roll me a 1d3 because this is with no medical supplies or something like this is very basic first aid.
Is triple zero
I got a
zero?
1.
is triple zero
Zero.
zero?
Oh, 000 is the one, the critical success. Sorry.
Oh, so I rolled the
Critical
best
success.
roll in the game.
Yeah,
Hooray!
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
All of
yeah. No,
Cthulhu brain is
sorry.
just like, oh
Yeah.
no, that's terrible.
Heal 3 points. Heal 3 points, and also if you
Woohoo.
got
Thank you, Rose.
yeah, yeah, no, and also um, if you have any kind of stress, you can definitely decrease it by 1 and amplify another skill by 1.
Did we take stress from running out there, getting attacked, and running back?
We were laughing so hard. Yes
Eh,
and no.
In a game of fate, the most stressed ones were the audience of your performance.
Okay. All right. Well, I
But
only have one stress, so
yeah, but Rose, you can also heal the stress that you got from witnessing that because all seems to be on the mend. You seem to be more than capable with very few supplies to heal the wounds of one of your companions, and by all means, you can
so
meta-wise invest that.
yeah, do your best to not move this arm too much. You
sure.
dislocated it. I put it back in its socket.
Okay.
So it might be pretty sore for a while. So
Okay. It is sore.
Just be mindful.
If
As
you
far
need
as
anything, I'll get it for you.
I think that you've have some kind of bruising to your ribs. There's not much we can do for you there. But if you chew on this leaf, it should help with the pain.
Oh, thanks. Oh, wise rose.
Some tea leaves. Awesome.
It's a placebo. The leaves won't do it.
Oh, come on, Coco.
Yeah, you just got away. Where are you going essentially? So you are continuing the bombed path, or are you going back towards either the village or a crossroad or something?
Going back to the village and then continue from there.
Yeah, it's up to
Does that
you.
sound reasonable?
That sounds really good. Yeah, I'm not sure what else we can get from the villagers, but yeah.
Yeah.
Could we say we brought that flower? I think
Oh
we
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
had
It's
that
reasonable.
revelation.
Yeah.
Do we want to try plopping that next to the compass and see if we get the little spines pointing some direction?
Yeah.
It worked. Worth a try.
You do that, and they for sure start pointing all of the tongues towards a certain direction. Uh, it's not in the direction where you're coming from. It wasn't down the exploded path, or it doesn't even seem to be indicating towards the hill or the carcass.
That's okay. We got almost killed for some chalk. It was an adventure that hopefully we will live to tell.
I've
It
heard
was-
couriers go mad if they don't risk their life, once every 3 days or so.
In 6
Yeah,
years of college, I never had so much fun.
Yes, well, you're glad that you're still able to stand up straight and are not a corpse back in that field.
Then I wouldn't care, I guess.
I suppose not.
Life is
when
risk.
you reach back in the village, you not much has passed because it was nearby, so probably a 2 hour and a half endeavor. You get back to the village, and one of not the same cloudlings, but one of the cloudling soldiers around is like, so you overhear this, the carcass, yeah. I battled all the imago there, and I took the carcass with me. Oh, you're bluffing. You're lying. No, no, no. Completely pinky promise. I did it. So where is all the chalk then? Shh. I'm just hiding it for when we are meeting the Cloud Empress. They're essentially just bluffing.
Taking credit for what we just did.
But it doesn't hurt us, so I say we
Ah,
let them.
no. So, what are you planning to do?
Well, we want to go in the direction that the compass
Mhm.
says.
I think that's as good a start as any.
Yeah, you can definitely change course there. Not that much time passed. You see it indicates a path that um, goes in an entirely different direction. And as you follow it, you leave the village, and on your road, you go through some thick woods, which are appropriately named the thick woods. And as you're going, you don't see a specific landmark, but suddenly the compass starts to spread its tongues in all directions.
As we're going, it's doing this.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Are we passing the source?
It seems that way.
Yeah, either we're passing it or
There are
there's multiple
three.
flowers out here.
Why don't we stop and uh, you magicians, you would perhaps know where we can look. How tall are the trees around here? They sound like they're pretty old.
Yeah, they are pretty tall. They are bold, even though it's just the start of the summer, essentially. Think of a spooky, scary forest that probably your parents read you about. And this is very, very similar. Very, very deep roots. Um, the road, which is a beaten path, essentially, not a paved one by any imagination, uh, stretches in multiple directions. But when you arrive here and the tongue starts splitting in the compass, you see um, a couple of small, innocuous stones, no inscriptions, no nothing, placed one above each other, like a small, almost hiker-like milestone, but it's very small.
Well, if we move the compass closer to these stones,
They split evenly, almost forming a star.
So in either direction, we're going to find something.
We need to also look down. It is possible it's directly below us or above us, but
Like
he
in a
kind of looks
cavern
up. Potentially, yes.
in the underworld.
I mean, that would make sense with the splitting of the rock.
Let's perhaps take a break here and have lunch, and we'll look around and see if we find a cave entrance.
Wonderful.
yeah, maybe Oldo can split these three rocks that are stacked on top of each other and reveal the way.
He just kind of pushes one of the stones with the saber. Ta-da.
They fall completely next to each other.
Fortunately, I don't think we've thought ahead to bring shovels of any kind. So yes, I agree with Amethystos is let's take a break.
You unpack the food. You probably have what you need to start a fire. You can definitely take a nice, well-deserved rest near the milestone.
These leaves are good, Rose. Thank you. It's really
Of
helping.
course, do you need another one?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Here you go.
Thanks.
At this point, I'm probably oddly camaraderie with Sven. So I'm like sitting right next to him on his bad arm side, so that if he needs an arm, I can pick something up or help him hold something or whatever. Looking,
You'll be able
we're
to, you'll
both
have
looking
quite the
very
story to,
satisfied. Yeah.
you'll have quite the story for your family when you get back one shot.
Well, most of them wouldn't care, but my immediate brother and a couple of sisters, they might. Uh, Here, let me cut that apple for you.
Thanks. And the bread and butter it?
Oh, you betcha.
Ben, served by a lordling. Son, maybe we should have gotten crunched by the cicadas.
I know. I never thought I'd live to see the day. It's quite exceptional.
Well, if we've started a fire, I'll see if it's possible if I load up the press and start heating up the chalk to see if it dries out properly and compresses.
It results in a quite perfectly shaped stick of chalk. One serving, if you can call it serving.
Still a little soft. We'll leave it sitting here on this rock to dry out next to the fire.
As you're staying around the fire, there is of course, there is some activity around, like nature activity. There's some birds flying above you. And of course, there's some cricket noises around, but there is a loud crunch from a certain direction.
Who's
Saber
there?
out.
Yeah, I'll yell out. Who's there? Show yourself.
As you're looking around, you see something weird. You almost see the air kind of morph, like, if you know when high temperatures pretty much morph the air around. It's almost like that. And you can swear you've seen something dash across in the bushes.
Well, far be it from me to be alarmist, but are these woods haunted?
Or it's somebody who's invisible.
Is there a difference?
One's a ghost and one's a person. I'm going to take up a handful of dirt and throw it at whatever might be there and see if it outlines a person.
So you throw the dirt in the direction of this weird figure, and the dirt definitely hits something, and you almost hear almost a grunt, and as that grunt sounds back to you, you all hear a clink as you see in the middle, approaching the fire, a spherical object which closely resembles what you have heard of, like it looks like a grenade from the old times, essentially. And it slowly rotates towards the fire pit. What do you want to do?
I would like to get not here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get behind
Jumping, moving.
And making sure that one shot knows we got to go.
I'll grab the thing and throw it right back where it came from.
I'm
quick.
Then. Quick. Yes, let's see how quick you are.
Where's my thing? Okay, so I'm 55 and I got 47. So just barely fast enough.
Yeah, you throw it, and as this grenade is getting thrown back, it explodes, and it will not deal any kind of damage to any of you because that's a success. But it, the explosion, the blast, pretty much cuts the fire short. You all are dusty and a little bit disorientated, and you see as the dust settles, your the compass lifts up from the ground and is being thrown like a frisbee towards another figure from the bushes. And this figure makes themselves shown. You see a youngish looking, not that tall guy, brandishing some very old fashioned clothing. They have the definition of probably a shit-eating grin on their face. And they chuckle. They also seem to be with their free hand. In one, they have the compass. In the other, they have this revolver, which they are spinning constantly. And they stop the revolver in the aiming position, and they press the trigger. All of you make me a fear save.
Failed that. Just barely.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, my fear save of 16 didn't hold up.
I'm not metaing this. I have looked at you. Yeah, okay. So you take 1 stress if you fail. And from the tip of his gun, there is a small flag coming out with boom written on it. And he's like,
Good one, stranger. Good one.
But my hand's going to come up, grab my long rifle, and point it right at his effing head, and say, "Don't move. This one doesn't go boom."
And he chuckles a little bit. He loves Sven's reaction, and the others that laughed. Is like, now that's a human with great humor. And you spot an accent. It sounds almost like a old ancient French accent. And he looks at all of you, and he's quite calm for having a gun pointed on him, and he's like, well, travelers, I must say, you helped me and my friends a lot by bringing this, and it shows the compass to me. If it's okay with you, I think I'm going to leverage this from your duties.
I don't think so.
Ah, a lordling, of course. Well, you see, lordling, you're not the only one that has tricks up their sleeve. And it throws the compass back, and it stops me there as the compass starts pretty much jumping up and down and moving farther from you, which you can kind of guess there is somebody that holds it, but it's not visible. And this guy is like readying his, he pulls out a saber and is like, well, let's make this an honorable duel. En garde.
One shot. Take your shot. At the guy running away.
I'm going to make sure that all of my friends are behind me. Okay. And then instead of firing at this guy, I'm going to activate my family crest. And it's the family crest of pungent smells. It's going to create a horrifying gas cloud right in front of me. Invisible or not, they're going to be choking and falling to the ground.
Perfect. Use your crest, so give me a mind check for using that.
Mind check.
Mm-hmm.
That is, where's mind? There's mind. I didn't pass.
Sorry.
We can't hear you, Thom.
Dramatic pause.
Oh yeah, there he goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone.
I'm telling you, it's just like the sunglasses.
Yep.
He sprays, he fails the roll, and then there was
They
no
turn dark in
sound.
danger.
Well, I'm just glad Thom did that because I was about ready to run in and punch this kid. I like how he's like, I'll throw it to my invisible friend. Bitch, you aren't invisible. I'll beat the shit out of you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome.
Well, then I wonder if this came back.
Test, 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 test.
Hello, hello.
We're all
Mr. Rin.
testing.
Hello, can you
Our
hear
Came
us?
back. I don't know how it came back this time so easily.
Woo.
Wow.
So I've gassed them all.
So
you failed in gassing them.
Oh.
Oh,
Did
I
you
failed in
succeed the-
gassing them.
Oh. Well, you press your crest and you know the exact incantations, you know all the words, but you need to be careful to watch all this circus happening around you, and you misplace your finger on your crest at the very last moment. You take a stress and roll me a d10, please.
D10.
Yeah. There is also some good that can come out of it.
That is a 6.
A 6. Well, a random target.
Everybody's head goes.
Oh, no. Roll me. Wait, so it's 1, 2, 3, 5. So roll me a d8, and I'm going to say that the lowest you get, you are going to target your friends.
Got a 4. Sorry, Sven.
Well, yeah, if I see you as well as you see everyone else, yeah. A deep foul stench hits Sven smack dab, and it doesn't deal any damage, but you definitely feel like entire pits of sulfur are just entering your nostrils as you are taken aback by the smell and falling on your back without any damage, but completely disoriented and baffled by this occurrence. What are the rest of you doing as this is happening? Rose, Sun, and O.
Yeah, we can't let them get away with it. So I want to shoot my dark pipe at the compass. Because they're invisible,
okay.
I'll hit them still.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. Yeah. So you give me a speed check.
90.
It just misses the target, but as it misses, the kid sees you try that. And it's like, I always wanted to challenge a magician, and it's going to try to pretty much charge you. As it's charging you, they won't be able to hit right away. Give me I mean, what are you trying to do? Because you see them charging you.
Well, I
I'm
have a
giving another.
saber.
Okay, okay.
So
So that
I'll
would
meet
be
him with a saber,
okay, okay. Um,
which is
strength,
speed. It's speed, I think, for a saber.
speed. Oh, for a saber? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's still speed. Let me see what this guy does.
Uh, I was one off. God damn it.
Yeah, well, he um knocks the saber to the side and will hit you. For how much? For 13 damage.
Ouch. So
If
that's my armor gone, and
uh yeah.
that is a wound.
Oh, it's a wound. Well, it's definitely horrific. Everyone else, no, everyone take a stress and roll me a d10 to see what wound you have.
4.
A 4.
A wound causes a
You
change of heart. Reroll your heart stat.
perfect. Reroll your heart, please.
And that's 2d10 plus 20.
Man, Rose is going to be the best caster that has ever been.
14 plus 20, 34. And I include my modifiers.
Your bonuses. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
So I
do.
get a minus 10 to heart because of my age. So my heart is now 24.
That's better.
It's 2 points worse than it was.
Oh,
It's a little change of heart.
Yeah,
a little change of.
as I get fucking stabbed. Or it's-
It stabs you, and the most disturbing thing is that this guy almost didn't want it to kill you. But they immediately retreat, and as they are retreating, Olo and San, you got the room to try anything you want on
Yeah.
this
Oh,
guy.
I see this guy running. He's hit Rose. I'm angry. I'm gonna take him out with my
Yeah.
saber.
Yeah.
To try.
You know what? You roll me speed as well, as you're trying to hit this guy.
Speed check. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
perfect.
I just hit him. Yeah.
Perfect. Roll me a 2d10.
It's a 6 and an 8.
A 6 and an 8. Perfect. So you deal 6 and 8. That's 14 damage. Okay. So you definitely strike this guy. His pauldrons go out, and you get him a nasty gash, which is almost a wound. 9 damage. He is almost shocked at this and is like, magician, never fighting fair. I see. And as he's distracted by you, all of you definitely get a chance to do something with the added pressure that you start to notice that flap of wings, but I'm going to say immediately that you just had contact with Imago.
Yeah.
These don't sound like Imago wings.
Awesome.
In
He
fact, just to give the last indication, the mechanical nature and the cadence almost gives it away that it might be a top.
That is just wonderful. In that case, he sees Sun make a really good hit, and he's just going to barrel up behind the guy and try and knock him face down into the dirt, and land on his back, essentially pinning him there. Uh, he doesn't think this guy is actually a fighter. He just seems like an asshole.
Okay. You pin him, so you want to hurt him, or you want just to immobilize him?
I just want to immobilize him and
Okay.
then kind of look up at the compass. I mean, he's got the saber and everything, so just immobilize him and be cut out this childish behavior. Give us the compass, or you know what? Fine, you're in this too. And he just spits on this person that he's knocked down. There, now you're infected too, dumbass. Now give us the compass.
He is like, ugh. It starts. It tries, but it's being immobilized by the spit of his face. I like that you are definitely pinning him down because he was distracted and he's not really a dungeon boss or a BBAG. He's a part of a BBAG group, but not a BBAG. The doctor starts to lower down, and you all can see that it's a doctor. And inside the doctor, there is a big brutish guy wearing a gas mask on his face. It's almost reminiscent of the old era before the land of cicadas ever took place. And when it speaks, it shouts. It shouts in this muffled voice that is being covered by the gas mask. And you can, for the life of you, make out what he says. But you see the compass essentially board the copter, and this guy gives the control to the invisible person, while he will try to blast you all with a fire thrower, which is more of a fire barrel. What do you want to do as you pretty much see all of this? I'm going to say that Sven, you are back in action, and Amatistos, you are also back in action.
Well, if I see the flamethrower, I'm grabbing Sven and running.
No, give me your chalk. I need some chalk.
Take it.
I've got a
And then
chalk
my bag
cannon.
of chalk.
How much chalk does that take again?
If you refer to the cannon, that probably is enough with one stick, if I remember correctly.
I got 5.
Just checking. I think it's 1.
Yes, it's a long range. Use 1 stick of chalk to fire,
Yeah,
1 shot to reload, and 3d10 damage.
Taking him out.
Perfect. Wow. Yeah, you put the chalk, and I'm going to say that you will definitely hit if you do this in 2 rounds. If you do it in 1 round, you can give me a speed check to streamline it.
I got to try to do it in 1 because he's going to fry us.
Yeah.
07.
Roll 3d10. Blast these guys.
19.
19. Okay. You shoot this cannon, and you see them.
I've never done this before, by the way. I've never had enough chalk to waste. So I'm also like, as I do it, I'm like, holy shit.
The tip of this cannon just lights up. It shoots a blast of a bigger sized projectile than the chalk stick itself. And this thing hits the top turn. It blows up like half of it. And these guys are already kind of panicky. And you see the big guy with the flamethrower essentially being like tapped by a hand, which seems like a feminine hand that almost appear out of nowhere. And they choose to just, you see him unarm it and put it behind his back. And out of the impact, the compass lands right in the middle. It's much closer to you. But there is a fog, and out of the blast, everything kind of fades into this weird fog. And
I want
when
to.
yeah, sorry.
I want to scramble for that compass as soon as it lands anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't care that I'm bleeding out. I need that.
Rose, you get your hands on the compass immediately, and you hear footsteps rapidly going from you in the distance, and you hear the annoying voice of the future Frenchie. Love Frenchies, nothing against them, but they make for some good villains. Well, we shall meet again, travelers. You have won this time. And as they are leaving and the dust settles, you are left perplexed. And
as Grommel the Wise once said, don't stick your tongue in a tiger bear's ear.
Well, how about you shut up with your sayings and help him with... I start tearing like my ruined cloak to try to make bandages for myself.
I'm doing the Cloud Empress version of high fives with one shot.
Elon, can you help me with these dressings?
Yeah, we'll help you.
Son, can you help me tie this guy's hands behind us?
That was awesome.
We're both yelling
Finn.
for Son.
Sorry that
you're the prisoner. I'm bleeding out, and they're just like, way to go!
High five! And as you are all licking your wounds and recuperating, the sun slowly, not our sun, the actual sun slowly descends into dusk, and we will put a pen in it for today's session.
Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, Nathan Decker, Steve Anderson, Julian Arba, and myself with Victor Graur as our game warden. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the strange and fantastic world of Cloud Empress. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.